you are gonna see some cool ass shit.
Yeah, you don't want two Flavor Flays.
Heart transplants, brain surgeries. I've seen it all.
Dude, that's fucking dope.
Walk up and just get it, whatever it is.
Yeah, brother.
I'm trying not to laugh, bro, but Josh is fucking killing me.
Guess what Navy SEALs do, motherfucker? They communicate and they're on the same fucking page.
Whoa.
And we're live, boys. Well, boy. Oh, man, just one of us. Two of us.
Welcome to the Happy Hoodlums podcast, everybody. It's a little different this week. It's the boy wonder, Mr. Josh Taylor, and the Happy Hoodlum himself, Kemper Woodruff, back at you. We apologize for the delay if there's anyone that likes to live stream, but you know what? We're on God's time. You know, it's been a little bit of a different day. Things have been snowed in over here in Portland, so I'm dealing with cars getting stuck on this because I live on a hill and it's just one big old sheet of ice. So it's been like nonstop different stuff up and down this hill. But welcome back.
Yeah, dude. We're missing Zack very dearly. I hear he's having a good old time in New York. That's all we'll say about that.
But, you got to make time for adventure. So Zack will be coming back with some stories and some new perspectives on life for shizzle. You know, talking about some perspectives on life, I actually have something coming into this podcast because I've been exercising, and while I'm at the gym, I'm listening to a lot of different books, right?
Yeah.
Because I found a playlist of audiobooks, starting with a dude named Neville Goddard. He's one of like he's like one of the OGs that taught Law of Attraction. And so this is like from way back in like the Depression era, right?
Yeah, well back. Okay.
Yeah, so he's up there with like the Napoleon Hills, who wrote like Think and Grow Rich, and like Dale Carnegie, these guys that were just masterminds, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I'm reading this book, or I guess I'm listening to a book on this playlist that's written by a dude. I forget his name, but he was a cosmetic surgeon, right? And he was talking about self-image. And it was super interesting to me because what he said is that until we can accept our self-image, we cannot become it. And so that's why we see a bunch of like celebrities that are absolutely beautiful people. And he kept running into this in his profession where he was like, I'm seeing people that are like off the charts. They're like a 20 on the 10 scale, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But they think that they're ugly. And it's really that they're talking about your subconscious rejecting anything that is not truly accepted in the form of your self-image, right? And this made me think about the whole concept like Yoda, right? Trying versus doing.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of just
there's no try.
Exactly. And so I've been flirting with this while I've been looking at different aspects of my life. And one of the things that Neville said in his books is that to know something from the outside is hollow. It's an experience that will not manifest, right? But to know something from the inside is to understand the spirit of a thing, right? And so in terms of creation, everything that ever is, was, or will be already exists out of the basis of creation, right?
Okay.
Just like ingredients in a kitchen, although they're not formed into a dish yet.
Yeah.
Right? And so I've been kind of looking at this like, wow, looking at the end and living in the end from the beginning. So they're in your right? So you cannot live in past tense or talk about things as future tense. There's only the present.
Yeah, that's weird.
If it's going to be, it exists right now, and the fact that you can conceive the image of it, right, for yourself
Yeah.
means that you have not only created it, but that it is a part of you. So the things that you desire also desire you. However, you can't attain them until you become the very feeling of what that desire brings you. Does that make sense?
Dude, you're bringing some jaw dropping like material right off the rip. Dude,
So,
it makes sense. It's a lot to process. Um, but yeah, I mean, literally, what a- is attracted to you is what you're like whatever you are clinging on to. Like, man, what's a good example?
well, it's like a Ferrari, right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of the aha moment for me was I was getting off of the freeway a couple months back, right?
No.
And as I'm waiting, there's this other dude at the light and he's in a Ferrari. Pulls up in this beautiful white Ferrari, right? And I look over at him and I go, "Nice car." And he goes, "Yours is next." And drives off. And that just stuck with me, right? Because I've always wanted it and I knew it, and I was always telling myself, but I future tense, right? I'll get it when.
Yeah.
But the real difference between me and that guy is
Is
in
he
that
has it.
moment. Well, not only does he have it, but before he ever got to have it, he knew he's the guy that drives the Ferrari. And
Yeah. Whoa.
so he held that desire, right? And then from that created his life a sustainable way, right? Where he was in harmony with this thing so it doesn't throw it out of balance. Otherwise, because you can get whatever you want, but you can lose
Yeah.
it just as quick if
What
you're not a match to it.
what if that was you from the future and you knew that you wanted a Ferrari so bad, but you ended up figuring out that you time traveled and went and did that and told you drove past yourself on purpose.
Well, I don't think it's quite that, but you're kind of on the frequency of
But
it
yeah,
because
yeah,
part part of enlightenment comes from understanding that everything is born out of one source, right? And so you and I are both a part of the same source. Those same molecules
yeah,
exist, although they're in a different harmony and expression through your
yeah.
consciousness, right? That gives them form. We know as or Kemper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
You kind
so,
of cut out a little bit, but I heard you.
okay, so basically, like your consciousness and your focus holds the form, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, me being someone that desires to be the guy in the Ferrari, right,
Yeah,
attracts this person where I meet, the guy in the Ferrari, who then validates this thing that I've
that you
felt,
want.
right?
Yeah,
And so this is really a secondary step in manifestation. The first step is when you have the idea based on the
yeah.
feeling.
It's telling yourself that, yo, I want this.
Yeah, like the feeling of
Yeah.
your imagination, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you envision success, right? And you're just on that frequency of success, whatever success is defined as to you
Yeah.
comes to you in the form of a thought that amplifies the feeling again. And so the feeling continues to grow.
Huh.
And this is where the focus upon the self image comes in. But I didn't accept it quite the same way he did before that, right? And so in that moment, this like light bulb went off where I was like, ah, we're the same. We're just in two different states,
Yeah.
right? And so there will be what Neville describes as a bridge of incidences or scenarios that will unfold in order to get me from here to where I want to be. There's
Yeah.
always a process of doing, right? But that path that you take is revealed to you based on the tension of the feeling
Yeah.
that that dream evokes in
So,
you.
so the stronger that feeling, the more drive you're gonna have, and
Hmm. And so Dale Carnegie, when asked how he could amass his fortunes back in the day, right, when he
yeah,
was teaching about metaphysics and the power of the mind, they asked him how he could do it, and he said, "I can focus on the same thought for 5 minutes."
bro. Imagine thinking about the same thing for 5 minutes,
That's what I'm saying. He said, "I could focus on the same exact thought for
dude.
five
No,
minutes."
knowing my brain, I'm all over the place.
Hmm.
Like, dude, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you how many things I think about just randomly. Like, I'll be at work and I'll be looking at some whatever, like a thermometer, and
Hmm.
I'll just be thinking of like, I'll start thinking about like cooking steaks, and then
Hmm.
boom, cooking steaks like turns into some romance novel in my head of me eating steaks on the beach, and like I just like
Yeah.
after I have one thought, it's like they add up and add up,
and
you know.
and that's why it's like learning how to actually focus your mind creates a stronger amplitude and magnet of this frequency,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because yeah, go for it.
it's kind of like you were saying, the guy that drove past you it kind of gave you a sense and told you in your head that yeah, I'm gonna have that Ferrari, you
Hmm.
know. But at the same time, while having that thought, um, you still have to be able to tell yourself, yeah, he's got a nice car, and I can't afford it,
No, no, no,
but one
it's
day
not
I
that you
will.
can't no, 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 the one day is where you get hung up.
No, no, no. I'm saying like you got to be able to tell yourself that yeah, right now in this moment I can't buy that car, but one day I will.
No, but it's not even one day. It's that in the moment that you realize you want something, that reality has been created and you have it, right?
Yeah,
And that's why you can, in your mind, when you see yourself like in a daydream eating a steak, right?
yeah,
y- it harmonizes with this feeling in a
yeah.
very robust way inside of you.
Hmm.
As soon as you try to put a past or future tense to it, right? That's where that feeling dissipates.
I'm not talking about like feeling. So you see the Ferrari
Hmm.
and you manifest like yo, I'm gonna, that sense gets stronger and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna own that thing one day. But what I'm saying is still in that moment, you have to be able to mentally accept that moment you can't afford it, but you will own it one day, and that you will work hard enough to get it. Is
I
what you
get what you're
is
saying.
what you're gonna have to accept that in that moment. You know?
I'm nitpicking semantics, but
Yeah.
it's
I think
really
we're
that
I think
um,
I think we're saying the same thing. Like
yeah, I think we're
they're
going at
about
it
the
two different
same.
ways.
They correlate
But
or whatever, coexist. I don't know. I'm not
but
smart.
really it's that like you have to agree with the imagination, like whatever you imagine, you have to agree with it.
Yeah, you have to accept imagination and reality at the same time. Is kind of what I'm
Your
saying.
imagination creates your reality, right? And so
Kind of, yeah.
yeah, so like Neville
Well,
Goddard has
it makes it make it imagination creates your future reality. What I'm saying is you have to accept that reality in that like your reality.
but this is the
I don't know
crazy thing.
what
there is people are gonna get lost. This is goofy,
Oh
but
yeah.
there
I'm
is
keeping track
no
though.
there is no future reality, bro. There just is
Well,
reality that exists
that's what your
right
imagination is.
right now, and so it's like
Your imagination is your future reality. If you think
no,
about
it's
it.
your present reality because it affects how you interact with
No,
your
no, no.
current
No,
circumstance.
because you see that guy's Ferrari. You imagine that in the future you will have a Ferrari. So your imagination is your future reality, bro.
No,
I'm
because before the dude ever drove up, dig. Okay,
Okay.
I had the
Go.
feeling of like richness, right? And focusing on the feeling of success within myself.
Yeah.
I have then been presented with the image of me in the
Right.
Ferrari.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then I'm just getting off of the freeway and this guy pulls up in the Ferrari,
Yep.
right? And so this is the chicken or the egg situation, right?
Yep. Which one came
What came
first?
first?
Yep. Hmm.
It was the feeling that then draws the thought.
So you saying
And
the egg came first?
yeah, well, they both exist simultaneously as soon as creation was born. They all exist. The
Uh-huh.
capacity for an egg exists just as much as the capacity for the chicken,
Got you.
right?
So
And
even though he owns it and you want it, you both have that same passion.
he's a me of what I'm emanating. He's reflecting
Yeah.
back to me.
He's the chicken, you're the egg. He's just a
hmm
future you.
I
With the
guess, but
same with the same
so
love for a Ferrari though.
let's scrap this off the table, right? Okay,
Bro, okay.
a seed has inside of itself
Yeah.
the inevitable everything necessary to birth
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah,
right?
nutrients like nutrition, like but whole bunch of
And so
yeah.
inside of consciousness, right,
Mhm.
exists the inevitability of everything you conceive to be birthed into your
Hold
reality.
on. Okay. I lost you. You're gonna have to say that. Yo, say that one more time. Let me.
So
I gotta listen in here.
a seed has everything it needs
Yeah,
to
the
birth
nutrition.
into
Yeah,
reality
seed
the
has
tree.
nutrition. Yep,
And so
for
the
the tree.
seed, even in seed form, is a tree, and everything that a tree could ever become,
Yeah.
it exists in the framework of that essence
Hmm.
contained in the seed.
So the guy in the Ferrari just shows that he has all the roots of the tree, but the
So,
seed is like the tree, but it doesn't show its roots,
so when you
or it's got to get
understand
its
the
roots.
essence, when you understand the essence of what Zach would kill us for talking over each other right now, but
Well, we're
um,
really not. We're doing. I think we're doing pretty good.
we're doing pretty good. But
I think so.
basically, like the essence of everything is a feeling, right? And when you understand the feeling of success from just all you have to do is focus on that feeling of success and amplifying and keeping alive within
Hmm.
you in the current moment, whatever that feeling of
Yeah.
success is, and opportunities come to you, right? And situations present themselves like the
Hmm.
dude in the Ferrari,
Yeah.
right? And so on and so forth. But basically, where the rubber meets with this is I was looking at what we accept for ourselves and are willing to accept within our reality.
Hmm.
And so we may have this desire for something that we're not willing to accept for whatever reason because we say we don't have money right now, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
But if you can get rid of that and just live in that feeling space,
Hmm.
you will inevitably draw it to you,
Okay.
right? And so in terms of like your body and stuff or your self-image, like cultivating self-image is really what I'm talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
is I've kind of had this revelation while I was in the gym of like, oh, it's not I'm gonna be buff, it's that I'm buff. And as I do exercises, it amplifies the resonance of that feeling and reaffirms it to me even
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And so the working out is the bridge of incidences, right? That is actually unfolding because of the feeling that drives you to it. That feeling will drive you to exercise. It will drive you to being more health conscious. Because I noticed that I started without ever, um, like I've never dieted in my life, right?
Yeah. Me
But
neither.
just
Yeah.
naturally, after I started feeling this feeling within myself, what I gravitated to naturally changed. It wasn't
Yeah.
a thing where I had to be like, "Oh shit, I can't buy fucking fruity pebbles anymore." It's like fruity pebbles are no longer on my fucking radar,
Yeah, dude.
you know, at all. And it's not that I'm doing this out of like a discipline thing where I feel restricted
Like,
in
dude,
my freedom.
like I started drinking water. I don't even want sparkling ices no more. Like I
Yeah,
have one. I barely drink them. But and the reason I got sparkling ices is to get rid of soda. Like
yeah,
it it just over time you change one habit and then you change it again and you just get better at it.
yeah.
It's a cool experience, bro. Because
And
it's
so
like
whatever image you imagine for yourself then shifts your consciousness. So it's like what it's like having a spotlight, you know?
dude,
It's like all of a sudden the spotlight's over here on the healthy stuff and all
yeah,
that other stuff doesn't exist to you as an option,
yeah. The
you know?
gym is like a man, I knew what I was gonna say, but I totally forgot. Um the gym's like a sacred experience kind of.
Mhm.
It's like a time where you're like kind of connecting to yourself in a sense
Mhm.
and you're learning more with yourself and you're also like making yourself change all these habits and it's like a true one-on-one where you can tell yourself like yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to eat that food. I'm going to eat this or it's yeah.
I'll have to have my friend Matt on who can explain this concept much better. But basically, when you exercise, you're drawing your chi into your muscles,
Okay.
right? And um, so that's why it's not good to just over exercise to escape from dealing with emotion, right?
Yeah.
It's actually bad for the muscles because that emotion still carries within it a negative frequency, right? If it's
Okay. Huh.
unresolved, that can't be housed within your consciousness in your body through your chakra system, right? Properly. It's kind of like just taking everything and moving it from one box in your brain into your root chakra,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just all of a sudden, all these emotional things probably need to be housed elsewhere within you. So it's not just a concept. You can actually allow yourself to feel the thing from the inside, feel the reality from the inside. And that's the difference between knowing a thing versus being a thing, right? Being a thing is a spiritual experience that can only be felt.
Yeah.
You can know something from the outside, but without the actual feeling resonating within you, it's powerless. It has no magnet to draw these things to you.
Yeah.
Because if you think about like a magnet still contains all the same particles, But if its charge is no longer active, it's just reorganizing those same particles in such a way where there isn't harmony. And that disharmony of the particles removes the charge. But the capacity for that magnet to still have a positive attraction and pulling power, right, has to do with the orientation of the particles within it, which is a conscious thing.
Bro.
It comes back to focus and expression of the focus that you hold. And
You're
focus upon what? Focus upon a feeling. Does that make sense?
you're blowing my mind right now, dude.
Yeah,
I
this is the kind of shit that I'm fucking
Bro,
listening to.
this is what goes through your brain all day?
Yeah, but
Holy
it's really much
crap.
more simple because um it's like you have all these situations in life like where man I could envision this thing but then it didn't come to be. Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Yo,
And you're
but
trying to
I I saw a video. This guy was talking about goals and why
Mhm,
setting goals is a bad thing. So like, when you're in school, let's like elementary, fifth, sixth
mhm,
grade, whatever. Um, you always set goals. Like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a vet. I want to be a firefighter or doctor, you know?
mhm.
But then time overcomes, you start figuring out, oh, I'm not good at science, or I don't want to go to school for that anymore. Your whole time being in school, you had this goal of being a doctor. And then you figure out at 18 when you graduate, oh, I don't want to be a doctor. That's kind of a bummer. It's like, yo, now I got to figure out what I want to do. And this basically my point. This guy was talking about how goals, like the one I just said, if you set so many, it's just like um, you're upsetting yourself just over and over again.
I guess it's like when you fix your mind on something and you focus on a goal, the reason why I don't think a goal is bad is that once the goal presents itself to you and you truly devote yourself wholeheartedly to it with every bit of your being,
Yeah.
and you know that no matter what, come hell or high water, I will do whatever it takes, whether it's one day or a million years, right?
Yeah, but
Or,
imagine you said that just like you said,
Mhm.
and then you didn't end up achieving that thing. You'd be,
um,
dude, you'd be so upset.
the reality of like not achieving that doesn't exist in my reality. When you're
Okay.
fully committed to something, I know it's done. I'll do whatever needs to happen, but
Dude,
it's done.
I need a brain like yours then.
And well, everybody has it. It's a matter of focus, right? And so, um, I guess what I'm learning is how to better focus my brain by using different exercises, and it really comes down to the feeling, right? If I
Yeah.
can just find the feeling of um and keep alive what this goal means to me, like what the end goal is and the juiciness of it, and just focus on it, that juiciness is only going to get sweeter and everything that I do is going to feel better.
Yep.
But you have to do it almost like if you're wanting something, underneath that wanting, there's this implication that you don't have it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That goes back to the try versus do.
You mean what Master Yoda said.
100%,
Do or
bro.
do not. There's no try.
Yeah. And
Master
so once
Yoda.
you make it up in your mind that it is done, and
Yeah.
live in accordance with that as your reality, it'll come to pass. And you don't have to figure out the who, what, when, where, how, all of that shit.
Yeah.
You just know that as it presents itself to you, I will do whatever the necessary steps are to do it. And you train that into your brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, exercise has become the way of like, everyone says like one more rep, just do one more,
Yeah.
right?
I tell myself that. Yeah.
And that's basically what you're doing in your brain. You're telling
Yeah.
yourself, whatever I need to do, right,
Yeah.
in order to achieve this reality, I'll do it.
You're like fully in control of. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just it's a trippy concept, but it's basically the backwards law. Like if you have to desire something but not have like a need for it. The neediness for this thing to happen separates you from it.
Yeah.
But if you just want it and know that you have it, then you're receptive to it, right? So when it comes to you, you accept it
Yeah.
rather than reject it.
Bro, I've been kind of getting lost in um like videos about like just our brains, like how we function or whatever. And
Mhm.
I stumbled upon a video of this guy, and he was talking to another guy, so kind of like us, one on one.
Mhm.
And he's telling the other dude, he said, just think about this. We're talking right now, but who I really am is my brain. You just see me in this meat suit.
Yeah, so it's like your consciousness.
Yeah. I've been, dude, like stuff about our conscience. Like, yeah, been seeing a lot of videos and stuff, and I'm reading a little book that's um, kind of like taking control of your conscious, I guess.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
it's
it, it
fascinating. It's
this is the thing, bro. Like we hold so fast to this tangible reality of what we can like tactilely feel, right?
yeah,
But if you imagine something, you can feel it with
yeah.
in your mind, you know?
Look, you want this water bottle. You're thirsty. You want this water bottle. You know.
Well, no, dig. Like
I'm
so I'll give you a real life example of this. So one of the meditations that Neville Goddard teaches is before you go to bed at night, um, when you're laying in bed, I sleep on my side, so I do
yeah.
my visualization on my back. Lay in a position that you don't normally fall asleep in, right?
Okay.
And just breathe there, right? And once you're kind of just you feel your body relax and you just kind of seep into your consciousness, right? You picture whatever it is that you want. One of the things that I like to do is count money, right?
Yep.
And you can't do this from the third person, right? You can't see yourself like, oh, me looking at myself on a couch counting money. No, I see it in the first person,
Yep.
and how I trained myself to remember what money feels like is I took like $100 bill and I would run my thumb across it and feel the way that the texture changes as it moves onto that like blue strip, right?
Yeah.
And so I count from there in my mind money until I go to sleep. And in the beginning, you're counting money, right? And then you go, all right, well, where am I? I look down, I see abs, right? I see tattoos, right? I see
Okay.
a beautiful woman in a penthouse, right? I'm sitting on
Okay.
a couch. Well, what does the couch feel like? What does the room smell like? Right?
Yeah.
And all of this is done without moving your hands, moving your body, or anything. It's all in here. if I have the Ferrari, right? I see the red steering
Yeah, you
wheel,
close your eyes. Yeah.
leather. I can feel all the stitches, how they cross on my finger, and my finger runs along the ridges behind it. It's got a
Yeah.
squishiness to it. What does it smell like? What does it sound like? Right? How does the gas pedal feel under your foot? Does it have those holes on the metal ridges, and you can feel the ridges under your shoe, you know? And you give yourself this entire experience, right? And you do it 3 nights in a row and then forget about it, right?
Hmm.
And if you're not good at that, right, and you have a hard time focusing, what he says is when you get into bed at night, in order to practice honing your focus, go over the events of your day in reverse order.
Hmm.
So, whereas I just got in bed to lay down, I now get out of bed. I then go back and brush my teeth. I then go down the stairs, and you actually remember your day in reverse order. And it's really fucking hard at first. It's
What
still
the heck?
fucking hard for me. You know what I mean?
Dude,
But
that's
as you
crazy.
do this, it trains that focus, like Dale Carnegie was saying, to be able to house yourself and control your mind on one thing.
Bro, what?
Yeah, most people don't do that. And so what they're doing
No.
is going, oh, I need to call somebody. I need to pick up my phone. Right? How many times have you thought of somebody and then they wind up calling you? And you never had to pick up your phone to do that, right? Happens all the fucking time. But people don't
Hmm.
put together the correlation,
Yeah.
right? Because really, if I can speak and hear myself speaking inside of myself, right? Then do I really need a mouth to talk? Do I really need ears to hear, or is it all frequency? So is it really physical is what I'm talking about? Or is physicality the last checkpoint of manifestation? So this physicality is the furthest extension. This body we call Josh Taylor, Kemper Woodruff, is the furthest extension of your consciousness from inside where consciousness exists into the reality that we call the physical world by virtue of focus. So, who really is Josh Taylor?
I don't know. Some
You're
guy.
the spirit inside of the body we call Josh. But your
Yeah.
name isn't
Okay.
isn't
Yeah.
really Josh.
Yeah, kind of like the brain analogy. I'm my brain, but you see my meat suit. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I was kind of getting at and wanting to paint the picture of in a different
I
way.
got you.
And so
Boom.
if you were to die, right?
Yeah.
What are you left with?
Um
If you don't need
like
your mouth to
what do
talk,
you mean what is left of me?
your consciousness, right? So
Yeah.
if I don't need a mouth to speak because I can say my name, right? Say your name in your head. You just spoke without moving your mouth. And you just
Yeah.
heard yourself speaking,
So are you
right?
saying that what
So
we
if I
go
killed you, right, and your body, Josh, is gone, right?
okay,
You're left with
my conscience.
that voice, your real being, what you really
May
are,
maybe.
right?
Is that what heaven is? Just a continuous conversation with myself?
Boom.
Dude, heaven
You're a mount.
sounds
So,
heaven
right?
sounds awesome.
So that's why Jesus said, like, you can have heaven on earth and you realize it within yourself,
Hmm.
right? When you realize that your imagination is your reality. So now I can control my reality by controlling my imagination.
Yo, let me ask you this.
Hmm.
where do you think we go after we die? Like, what do you think happens? What's the end,
Um,
or what's the beginning of whatever's after?
I think that there's different dimensions. Now, this is my theory, right?
Bro,
And from
what?
what I understand, because I've asked questions to a lot of
Yeah.
people, people who are mediums and different things like that, and
Okay.
spiritual teachers, and from what I've gathered
All right.
is that basically in this reality, right, we're all a piece of consciousness that is born out of one consciousness we call God, right?
Okay.
And so God is essentially it's like a river of conscious love that goes on forever. So all things that you do, right? God sees them and chooses to love them because you're going to continue living through life cycles until you experience all the emotions that you need to be able to go through anything and choose to love out, like, regardless. And then once that happens, all of you, everything that you are, can return back to that river and live there harmoniously. And from there, you can move to another astral plane, I guess.
Astro, what?
An astral plane. They talk about the different levels of consciousness and that you have like a physical body and then you also have an astral body. Um, yeah, there
Bro.
there was a dude named Edgar Casey, um, who was a really, really interesting dude. I believe he was spoken to as like referred to as a psychic, but um, he wrote this book. Let me see. Ugh. I haven't got through it, as you can see.
That's
So,
all right.
pardon my shitty explanation of astral body and shit like that. But ESP is extrasensory perception, right?
Okay.
And so that's basically um, your consciousness being able to communicate through, um, like, not needing the physical, but through the spiritual. And so they did experiments of like people talking on the phone, right? And being in two totally different places and knowing what the other person is doing
Yeah,
without that person saying.
like consciously thinking they're there or whatever.
Yeah, it's all about like clairvoyance and
Yo,
telepathy.
dude, like when we were on the phone call, when you called me at work,
Hmm.
I could hear, plates crashing or whatever. Like I could hear gym noises, and I knew you were at the gym, and I like had an envisionment of me and you like at the gym with a bunch of people like throwing a bunch of weight around. I swear,
That's
dude,
tight.
I did. I like envisioned that.
That's way dope.
And now because I did, I manifested it. Now I want us to work out together. So we're going to work out together.
Yeah, it's done.
It's already happened. We got
Bet.
swole together.
Yep.
Look at that,
And you
dude.
know what's gonna be hilarious? People are gonna think we're fucking nuts, and then like, watch when they see the podcast, they're gonna be like, "Whoa, those boys did get swole together," and bam, you bitch, it happened. And then they can always, but this is the thing: there's always gonna be
Hey, bro.
enough.
It's getting big. I just
There's always gonna be room for speculation, right?
yeah.
So there's always gonna be people that can deny what your reality is because each reality is true.
Yeah.
You interact with life the way that you perceive. So if you assume that someone thinks that you're an asshole, or you assume that that person's an asshole, the experience that you draw from that person is totally different
Yeah.
than than what could be there, because everyone has the capacity for both good and evil in them, right? Because yeah, and so this is kind of really just going down a crazy ass rabbit hole right now, which I
Yeah.
fuck with, because this is kind of the stuff that I
I'm
that I
surprised.
really
I'm surprised I'm
dig.
still getting like I'm following along, bro.
Well, I think more or less there's something about persistence and a desire to understand. Um, and that's why I say, when you decide the end from the beginning, like, no, I I get this, and like, I can understand this, right? I do understand this, right? I will understand this. It You just keep seeking it. And these things, it's almost like if you read a book that's too complex for you and you don't understand what every word means, right? And in the beginning, you're like, say there's no dictionary, right? You're just like, what the fuck does that word mean? And you go back over that sentence, and you kind of start filling in other words where that word would be, and be like, does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, does this make sense? Does that feel like what is trying to be expressed? And that's why it all comes back to the feeling place. And through the mastery of the feeling that you want, and the ability to continually focus and amplify and keep that feeling alive within yourself, to that degree, the attracting power, the magnetic power of that thought, evolves. So these manifest in your life more rapidly. That's why you can have a thought that has no resistance and just pure desire. Hey, I want to talk to so and so, right? And then you just go about, you get distracted. You're doing what you're doing, and then they call you.
Yo, that's facts.
And it happens all the
That's real.
time, but people fucking overlook it, and it's
Yeah.
not weird. The
Yo,
truth is, it's absolutely the most logical thing in the world. It
I
makes more sense than anything. But you can only explain it what you feel. So you can never justify it to somebody else, because they can't feel for you.
dude, like I have thoughts like, oh, I gotta call Zach or something, or Zach's, blah blah blah, and then boom, Zach calls me. Like there's something I had to tell him about a clip that I put together, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna call Zach later about that. But then he called me like 15 minutes after I was like telling myself I'm gonna call him. It's just like,
Hmm.
what in the world? How's that
That's why
happen?
I use that example, is that it happens all the
Yeah,
fucking time. And
it
people
does.
just, it
People
happens all
just,
the time.
yep,
People overlook it, and say, no, that's
yeah,
woo woo stuff. Yeah.
yeah,
And shoo it away. But why do they do that? Because they're unfocused, and they think that it's easier to live, um, in a world where you can justify things, right? Than to live in a world where you can't explain it to somebody else, right? You cannot justify it enough. You can't give enough reasoning to why you feel this feeling inside of yourself and how real it is, for someone else to get it, right?
yep.
And that's why I have a problem with our society, um, in a sense, pushing a comparative narrative onto us, right? Um, and that we have this idea that a harder journey is a better journey, right? But if you truly accept your worthiness, right, why is a harder journey better than a more enjoyable journey where you get more of what you want?
Well, that is because um man, how do I say this? I got myself in a little tongue tie, bro. Um
It's okay. You know, one of the things that hangs me up, which is hard, and that I go back to is like wanting to express a concept not to make myself appear smart. Um, because really w- credit is completely unnecessary. What really I want to provide is um, an answer to other people as well as to myself, you know, that can uplift them and that is the truest, most clear, easy, digestible way to understand these concepts, whatever concept you're explaining. And I think that that is why writing is so powerful because when you take the time to write something, and in turn, why reading so powerful is you're able to form it so much better. Like when I'm sitting here on the podcast, I have so much harder a time explaining things from time to time, I guess, than when I'm writing. You know, because
yeah,
I can sit and I can craft, and I don't have someone else's feedback. It's just my feedback, right?
yeah,
Um, but I think that's kind of the power of is like as you the things you read, you become, and it trains you to focus, you know, and it's really all about that focus. It's not overstimulation because if I'm watching a video on something, my mind's trying to digest it, my eyes are trying to like read everything. There's a lot of sensations going on at once, right? Whereas when you're reading, it's just kind of like boom, this thing, and I'm internally speaking these words to myself, right? And anything that you affirm that you are, right? You become, and the
yeah,
more you focus on it, the easier it is to tap into that frequency within yourself because it has more momentum. The more you think a thought, the more that momentum builds, right? And the easier it is to think that thought. And we can look at science and the brain and see, oh, that's a neural pathway that's being created in your brain, right? So there's physical expressions and ways to explain these concepts, right?
yeah. You're just blowing my mind with them. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy, but to be honest, bro, these shit like this blows my fucking mind. Like, and it's so powerful. It is so powerful the more that you learn these things and begin to focus yourself and just choosing what you want because you fucking want it and not justifying it to anyone else and living as it, you know? Like people can think you're a nut, but like dead ass, bro. When I'm driving home sometimes, like if I see a nice ass car next to me, I'll like look at the steering wheel and like the interior of the car. I'll listen to like the sound of it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And while I'm grabbing my steering wheel, it's like my hands aren't feeling my steering wheel.
Yeah. They're feeling
I'm
that
feeling another
space.
steering wheel. I'm driving my Ferrari
Yeah.
in my Lincoln, you know?
Yeah.
And eventually, like when your Lincoln feels like your Ferrari, that Ferrari will come to pass in a sustainable way, right? Because you want to get to the point where you're so on that frequency that there's no deviation from it, right? I'm not going to get this thing and lose it. And since I know that it's inevitable that I'm going to have this thing, I don't have to rush out to feel like I need to grab it right now. I need to get it before someone else gets it, right? That's that need thing, right? And it puts that buffer between it. It's like if I want it, I don't even have to fucking focus. Check. Got it. Roger that. I'm on the way. Right? Roger that. It's here. I got it. I don't need to trip about it. I just need to handle this feeling and keep this feeling alive in me while I do what I'm doing. And revisit it. Revisit it. Why? Because it's fun. And starting to shape because we're wired for pleasure and pain, right? Everybody knows that with psychology.
Yo, okay.
It's pleasure or pain, and our brain is trained to, seek pleasure while avoiding pain, right?
Yeah.
But if you eliminate almost the sting of pain, because I know that the pleasure is inevitable, I can have the pleasure now
Mhm.
and not need to uh, overly take this current reality I'm living, this place where I'm living right now, this car I'm driving right now, however much money is in my wallet right now, as gospel, right? And another way that this happens is like I can't tell you how many times I'd gone to work and I was hungry and I didn't have money, but I knew I just wanted to go get like a certain kind of food and it just sounded so good. And then my coworker was like, "Hey, I'm going to get this," right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Linda Tran because she fed me
Dude,
fucking
literally
time.
today I was thinking, man,
So many
I want to
times.
order some Domino's pizza today. Dude, one of my coworkers went and bought like 5 boxes of Domino's pizza. It,
Hey, dude,
yo, you're making me think about it, bro. It's kind of creepy. It's kind of
isn't it
creepy.
a trip though that I would choose the exact analogy that would resonate within your
That's crazy.
experience today?
Yeah, that's weird that you're making sense.
It
Like,
isn't weird though.
it
Change that
is.
word. It makes
No,
perfect sense.
no. Dude, I don't know how my peanut brain is comprehending right now.
Because so a lot of people talk about like the hive mind concept, you know?
Bro, yo, what?
It's like
Yo, I,
they see it with bees, you know, all the time. Like
yeah.
everything acting on like one accord, although they're multiple beings, right? Simultaneously. Or like when you see birds flying, right? How the fuck do all of them do the same shit at the same time? Have you ever seen a flock of birds like really moving through space like incredibly fast?
Yeah.
That's like a good example of it.
Oh,
Everyone
dude,
on the same frequency at once, you know?
I saw a video of these birds, kind of like what you're saying. They end up doing the same thing in sync.
Mhm.
This one's not so G rated, but these birds were flying,
Mhm.
and there's a video of them just falling to the ground, and they like splat on the ground, dude.
Well, I don't know what the fuck, but it must
Yo,
be
I don't
they,
know either.
they ran into the same shit apparently. I don't
Dude,
know.
yeah. It's so, the video's so weird. The birds were so in sync while doing it.
Mhm.
I, I don't know, dude. Birds are
Well,
birds are
And
another breed,
that's what I'm
dude.
saying though. It makes sense in terms of frequency, right?
Bro.
If we're trying to think about it in other ways, it won't make sense. But if you think about it as like all options exist at the buffet together, right? Simultaneously. The
Yeah.
buffet is frequency. all options are available to all of us, right? Anything that can exist, right? That has the capacity to exist because it has the capacity to be thought of, can be thought of not just by you and made reality, but by someone else, right? That's why there's not just one Ferrari in the world. There's more Ferraris. Everyone could have Ferraris, but not everyone can believe and feel for that
And
or
having a
chooses to
Ferrari.
believe and feel for that.
I want a Ferrari, bro.
Because
I'm gonna have a
we we
Ferrari.
we disempower ourselves. Then you won't have it. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna
But
have a Ferrari.
this is the crazy thing. If you really truly desire something, right, and you keep that shit real, you'll live your life in accordance with what you need to do. Right? Our paths are all different to get there, right? And that's why I say people need to study the law of attraction as taught by Abraham Hicks, because it's, in my opinion, the most simple, fundamental explanation of it, where then you can read something like Neville Goddard and it kind of gives you a little more nuance of how to think about these
Bro,
things.
you're saying a lot of big boy words that I cannot comprehend.
Which one did I lose you on? Nuance?
It's- I don't even know. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, so it gives you a good foundation, right? It's very easy. It's 5 steps. They break the law of attraction down into 5 steps, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like you have a feeling, you have a thought, and then that thought will then turn into another amplification of the feeling where something will manifest into your reality, right? And then from there, you keep that shit alive. I can't remember. Hold on. Fuck. I fucked up. Where's my asking it is given book? I'm gonna have to get it. Ain't that a bitch? Step 5 is just repeat the fucking process when you fuck up. But I remember there's like a third thing. This is all about thoughts becoming things. Okay. Yeah, so the first step is emotion. The second is a thought or idea that matches that emotion, right? The third would be like um something will pop up, right? Within your reality. It may be something like you looking at a clock and it says like 333, something to show you that everything's lining up. And then you meet people or whatever, and people might be like, hey, have you heard of blah, blah, blah? Or you're talking to them and they go, oh, yeah, I was just looking at the clock and it's 222. And you go, whoa, what a trip. And then a physical manifestation will actually come to be, you know? And then you just repeat that fucking process over and over and over again. So it's about thoughts becoming things in a very simple way. Um, but when you read the book, it makes way more sense. The into some of that shit in a different way. But yeah. Anyways, I can't believe we just spoke for an hour and a half on this shit.
No, it's just been an hour because we started late.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, dog.
Yeah, dude.
Hold on.
No.
Well, since we went down a crazy ass rabbit hole, let's talk
Yeah,
about some
yeah.
normal
Let's
shit,
do
bro.
some. Yeah, can we do normal stuff for a little bit, man?
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I've been like melting my brain at the gym and just listening to
Dude.
audiobooks all the time. So all that I'm thinking about is like
Yo, all right. Maybe turn on a J. Cole album instead of ebooks. No role models, but I'm here right now. Like J. Cole. Yeah, maybe turn more of that on.
Yeah, one of
Um,
the interesting things is like where I become somewhat hypocritical is like there's certain emotions that it's like I the depth of emotion that I get from music sometimes, I'm like unwilling to subject myself to it.
all right.
Like, bro, I can just I you could play a song sometimes and I'll just fucking cry. Like it'll just hit me in such a way where I'm like, bro, there's so much emotion in me. Like it's ridiculous.
Well,
But I think vulnerability is a superpower,
or
man.
or like if you see that one movie scene, bro.
Yeah, dude, movies get me, bro. I hate to say it, movies will get me. Like Monsters Inc. I was just thinking about this earlier today, bro. Monsters Inc. is such a like I don't know, like a fatherly kind of movie, bro. That it just like it makes me want to cry whenever I watch that movie,
Yeah.
because I fuck with it so deep. Like
Yeah,
this big,
Sully and Mike are kind of like parents, bro.
well, it's like this big scary monster, and that's kind of a perfect analogy for like as men when you go through some shit sometimes, or women, when you just live a hard life, right?
Yeah.
And you start getting rigid um and kind of like I don't want to say jaded, but it's like your world seems so concrete. You make it so you're not scared, you're the one scaring, right? And then here comes this thing that makes you feel so deep. And that's represented by like the child, that it breaks off all that hardness in an instant and just gets to like the root of your essence, and you're like, "Oh shit." And it just brings that love out of you. Like I would do anything um to protect someone else,
Yeah.
because I know it's not that bad, and even if it does go bad, like I'm willing to go through whatever I need to for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Monsters Inc. was the shit, bro. I was thinking about that because I remember like when I was little with my dad going to see that movie, bro. Like my dad fucked with Monsters Inc. If I watch that movie right now, bro, I guarantee you at the end I cry.
Bro,
Guaranteed.
I was in love with Toy Story, bro.
Yeah, I think we all were.
Yeah. For real.
Toy Story is one of those timeless movies too. Like some shit just holds up, you know?
Dude,
I gotta
like
say,
Toy Story is like the true essence of a childhood, bro. Like it just brings you back to those days, when you're
mm-hmm.
like swinging on the swing. You're putting on your first pair of winter gloves. Like,
Bro, did you ever like do trick contests on teeter totters?
do what? Oh, where you
Oh,
like put your legs up and like,
yeah, and like switch
yeah.
your legs around and go backwards and stuff, bro.
I don't know if I've done that.
Dude, when I was in elementary school, we used to fuck with that. And if you hit it really hard, you could actually jump it. So like you could change the balance because there's like three rings.
The thing I did do on teeter totters, since I've always been like taller than most people my entire life.
Hmm.
I'd have a short kid on the end of this teeter totter, and because I'm the bigger person, I'll just sit there at the bottom, and I'll leave
That's
them
what you did?
dude, and they'll be dangling up there.
I thought you
It's
were gonna say you
oh
would come down and smash them and they would go up like way high. Bro, I
no,
hated that.
and then because I'm heavier, a little bit,
Yeah.
I would just do like a little hop. So like they would go down a little bit and then go back up.
Oh, like smack their nuts? That
No,
fucking
just
sucks.
just to have them go down and then
Bro,
back
I've
up.
brutalized my fucking ball sack on those things when I was a kid. I swear to God. It's
Yo,
the worst. Because, like,
what's up with us talking about man parts in our podcast lately? What's
I
going
think it's because
on?
we haven't had a chick on here in a while.
I don't think I've made contact with a woman. I
Well, in what sense? You ain't said hello?
like I see a pretty lady in line at Starbucks. Hey.
Dude, if you can lock eyes with a person for like 3 seconds, this was something a mentor of mine taught me. Is like if you can truly lock eyes with somebody for 3 seconds, continuously, no looking away, your ability to approach that person and have a connection with that person where they can actually feel you is it's going to change the whole interaction. And so if you look at someone and they look you in the eyes and they look away like that, it's going to be a totally different thing. If you look at someone and someone's looking back at you and you lock eyes for 3 or more seconds, something will come of that interaction if you choose to engage. That's also why if you're like hunting, right?
Yeah.
Or trying to sneak up, you don't look at the person or thing that you're sneaking up on. You look like at the ground next to it or something. You ever try to sneak up on a dog? It's
Yeah.
hard as fuck to sneak up on a dog, bro.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
catch you.
Well, even just people, you know? You ever stare at the back of somebody's head and then they just start fucking looking around? Try it. I guarantee you it works
Oh
because
no,
it's a
I've
psychic connection, bro. It's the power of so it's quantum physics, really. Gosh dang it. See, it always comes back to stuff like this. I need to just pull the plug on that one. But
Hey bro.
basically, when you
Come on,
tend to choose something else to interact and respond differently.
mm-hmm. You cut out, but
Oh, basically, something in an observed state um, reacts differently than an unobserved state. Yeah,
all right, let's go back to simple shit.
yeah. I know. I'm just trying to bite my tongue on it because
Uh,
honestly, I really can't wait until I'm more masterful in my ability to like articulate this shit to people. That's why I'm working on writing some stuff. I've been
yeah.
writing for a long time, so pretty.
I would love to understand your brain a little bit better. It's That's one heck of a brain you got there.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
It's
But
a great
the
brain.
interesting thing is like everyone has the ability to tap into knowledge like in an instant. Really,
Yeah.
your intuition can be there. Like I think about this in terms of people like Nikola Tesla, you know, or like Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Uh, all these great inventors really were coming up with things. Also, an interesting phenomenon is that like the synchronicity of stuff. Think about like the telephone, right? There was an Italian dude that made the fucking telephone, and he made it first, right? But Alexander Graham Bell, halfway around the world, right, has the same fucking idea. Once this dude now has the idea. Once one thing comes out, now other things come out that are like it. just like that. So how is that explained? Two people not talking, don't know about the other person existing and working on this thing, and they're doing the same shit all of a sudden. It seems like to me there are thoughts and concepts that are like ready to be birthed, and they're just like waiting for the person to catch that like vibe, where the thought then comes to them and they're like, boom, booyah, fuck yeah. Because I think all of us want to experience these things. Imagine how many people wanted a fucking telephone back in the day rather than these bullshit ass letters and pigeons and fucking smoke signals and whatever the hell they had, right?
Yep. Cans and a string and
Yeah. And so they might not be the person that designs it and receives the thought, right? But that thought was wanted, that invention was wanted by so many different people
yeah.
that it's almost like they helped cause it by having that desire for it. They just weren't in the place to think in a way to make it possible for them to receive that thought to create it. But if you're someone who thinks you're a fucking mad scientist, right? Or who think they're like, I'm an inventor. If all I tell myself my whole life is like, I'm the greatest inventor in the world, right? And that's all I'm focused on. I dedicate my whole life to it. The thoughts that come to me are going to be like that, right?
Mm.
And so to me, I think at a certain point, um, I have to look at my own life and recognize that my whole life, I had a lot of things happen that I wanted to know why the fuck they happened. You know, I went
Yep.
through a lot of painful shit and I just was like, why? You know, and this whole notion of why, and trying to understand emotions, and make sense of my thoughts because I had no peace in myself, you know, really kind of drove me to find all these different things, you know, and now I just want to teach that, and I want
Yeah.
to tell these stories and give people fun shit just to enjoy it, just because it's fun, and I just now I want to do it more. I want to do it better on higher and higher levels and see how far I can go with it. Like now that's the cool thing to me. Like, what is my greatest idea going to be in my life? That's the type of shit that I think about and I flirt with. When I think about success, I'm like, what's the dopest shit that I can fucking come up with? With
A,
no limitations,
a
no limitations of
podcast.
money. Yeah, I guess, fuck. And that's why I'm like, I think I'm the fucking funnest, most ballerific dude fucking ever because
All right, let's drop the ego a little bit.
no, no, I'm telling you, y'all can judge me right now. I don't give a fuck because dig. Imagine if someone pulled up on you and you were like bussing tables or something. And
Yeah.
I think I've said this once or twice on the podcast before, but some fucking dope ass dude in a crazy ass suit just walks up in there, or I might be wearing some pineapple pants because you never know how you're gonna catch me, and I just start joking around with you, or I see you, and I just go, "Hey, you want to go do some cool shit?" It's like Bill Murray. Bill Murray used to just go and hang out with people, and then he'd tell them nobody's gonna believe you. There's a ton of different stories of Bill Murray going and hanging out with people, and when he gets done, like take some dude out in Vegas, and they go have a fucking great ass time, total stranger. Then at the end of the night, he just goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, no one's gonna believe this ever happened," and leaves. Like how fucking cool is that?
Yo, that's funny, bro. What,
Like living a life
dude?
like that just sounds so much fun. Like so much fun.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Like, if you told me Bill Murray told you that, I wouldn't believe you.
That's the greatest part. Is the did it happen? Didn't it happen? Like who knows?
That's funny, bro.
And so I just think that like really what this podcast and what I want to do is like show people the value of their thoughts and their imaginations, and that what you feel inside is real, you know? And if you keep that lightheartedness about you, even when you go through these things in life that may be difficult, right? Um, you don't have to keep the hatred. You know, you can just take the lesson and forget how you learned it. And the quicker that you can begin to live your life like that, the more fulfilling each moment, each day can be, because you can just be present, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, you don't have to necessarily set goals because your spirit knows what you want. You came up with that dope ass little, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and you just keep nurturing it because it's fun to think about. And then one day it just pops
Yeah.
into your experience.
Yeah. Absolutely, bro.
Well, we totally plan on going a different route with this podcast.
Yeah. Do you
So
want to continue that route? Do you want to
we
go
can if
down
you
that
want.
route?
All
You
right,
want
we
to?
can go the long route. We're gonna
I would.
flip the script. All right,
Yeah.
Josh is about to interview me. How
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that?
We are flipping the script big time. All right. And to make it easier, I'm gonna Google questions to ask people.
All
Like,
right.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna,
Like
I'm gonna.
cheating, bro.
No.
I wish I would have done that.
Good questions to get to know someone. Just so everyone knows what I'm Googling. Questions to get to know someone. Are you ready, Kemper? Are
Hit me with it.
you ready for me to get to know you? What's one question you wish more people asked you?
What's one question I wish people asked me?
Yeah.
Shit. You want to go do something? Like, dead ass. I wish that more people would come up to me because, like, and maybe this isn't the greatest for kids, but like, yo, like, when I wound up doing acid when I was like 16, you know, although it wasn't necessarily like
What?
as a choice because I got like drugged, it
Oh.
really all came about just from like some hot chick just finding me in a store and
Huh?
just interacting with me and just having fun, you know? And she was like, "Hey, you want some of this?" And I had no clue what it was. Oh yeah, shit. I don't know that I've ever told you this. All right, so oh man, it's a long story,
Now
but I'll
you
just
don't
give you
gotta tell.
yeah, I'll
You
give you the
can if you
intro of
want.
how it
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, give me the
This will
intro.
be in stages. So I was drinking too much with my bros, and we had been drinking Bombay Sapphire like a motherfucker, man. And gin was just killing me, man. So I was like, you know what? I need to get back to like my hippie self and just detox. So it's summertime. I'm not wearing a shirt. I'm like 16 years old, and I find myself in an Indonesian import store, and I'm looking around at all these different things, and in the beginning I was like, wow, there's so much cool shit in the window. So I go in and I just walk straight up to these rings, right? And they had hand engravings on them, like hand carved engravings. I still have this ring too, and it has um, a rising sun on one side, and on the underside it had a crescent moon and a shooting star. Right? And I wound up looking at this ring and being like, this is so freaking awesome. But I felt like there was something more there for me. And so I just wandered around the store. I swear I looked at like everything in the store for like a half hour. I'm in there. And the dude's kind of looking at me like, is he stealing shit? But I was just curious. And I guess I was like, nope, just this thing. And so as I go to walk to the register, I bump into this like fine ass hippie chick. I was like, oh my God. Shout out to Jade. That was her name. She had green eyes. She was short, and she had this hair. It was like Merlot wine colored, like a red wine. And it was just in the process of like dreading. And she had almost like just a bandana on that was like olive drab green kind of. Um, and I was like, "Oh, excuse me." And she was like, "You find something good?" And I was like, "Yeah, this ring." And she goes, "No way." I'm like, "What?" And she sticks her wrist out like this, and on her wrist, she has the design that's on the ring tattooed around her wrist. Like this ring was hand carved in fucking Indonesia, half the world away. How the fuck do I bump into this one lady after finding this ring, has this around her wrist? In my head, I go, check, I met my wife. All right, cool, bet. And she goes, "You look hot. Would you like a drink, love?" And she holds up this like half gallon of sweet tea. And I'm like, I normally don't take drinks from strangers, but of course my wife would have like my favorite drink on her. So I just take it. It's hot as fuck outside, and I just pound it. Go, 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 go. And then the aftertaste hits me. And it does not taste like sweet tea. And I go, what was in there? And she just goes, "You're electrified." And in my head, I'm like, bitch, what does that mean? And now her boyfriend walks in. Shout out. I'm gonna just call him. No, fuck him. I'm gonna say his name, Mr. Foxtrot Rogers. Okay. So I called him Foxy because I told him that shit was too long. He looked like fucking Marilyn Manson or some kind of shit. Or not Marilyn Manson, Charles Manson. Creepy fucking dude. But in the beginning, he was pretty cool. But he walks in and he goes, "Who is this?" And I'm looking at my wife like, "Who is this?" You know?
Yo.
And he's like, "Where'd the drink go?" And she points at me and he goes, "Oh God." And I'm like, "What is in that drink?" Turns out it was like ecstasy, whiskey, acid, and I think mescaline, all in one drink. And they called it the love mixer. So when she asked me, "You look hot. Would you like a drink, love?" She was calling the drink love, not me love. This is ego shit that you've got to watch out for sometimes. But no regrets. Had the fucking most awesome trip ever. I almost got shot by a cop. It was the craziest fucking night, dude. It was I had a crazy ass day. Bro, I tripped for like, I shit you not, Josh. I tripped for like 18 hours straight. 18 hours, bro. I was walking down the street and like, all right, so anyways, this dude's got this big ass belt buckle that was like a Grateful Dead skeleton, right? And it was all engraved and had like jewels embedded in it, fucking bananas, right? And so he was like, "We gotta go, leave." And I'm like, "Can you guys just explain to me what's gonna happen? Because I've never done this shit. I've always wanted to, but I've never done it, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's go get something to eat, and I'll explain it to you." So I'm sitting at this like cha 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 restaurant. It's a taco spot. And all of a sudden, the wall next to me, I'm sitting there for about 10, 15 minutes. The wall just starts dripping these like technicolors. Like if you look at a light and you close your eyes and you see all those crazy like highlighter colors, the wall just starts dripping those colors. And everything gets super bright and vibrant. And I'm like, whoa, like I think I need to go. And I had a friend living on Hawthorne, the street that I was on at that time. So I start making my way to his house. And as I'm walking down the street, I start seeing this koi fish like swimming on the buildings across the fucking street. And I'm like, what? It was a crazy ass day. but that's the beginning of my acid trip story. So I wish more people wouldn't drug me, but would ask to hang out with me.
Bro.
That answer your question?
What kind of story, bro?
Oh, dude, that's just the beginning. That's before it even really
Alright, let
kicked
me
in.
ask another question.
Hit me with it.
What is your strangest talent?
It's my strangest talent. Maybe helping people grieve. I think that might be one of the strangest ones.
Okay.
Yeah. Or coming up with stories. Like I
Yeah,
feel like I.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. You got that one.
Mm-hmm.
You got that one for sure, champ.
Um. Huh.
You're the
That's a good question.
storyteller.
What do you think your strangest talent is,
My
young buck?
strangest talent?
Yeah.
Um ooh.
I feel like we could get a lot of dirty answers asking this question to people.
Yeah, true. Well, I don't know. I feel like mine's a good one. Um Man, what's my strangest talent?
It's not licking whipped cream out of buttholes.
No, definitely not.
No. Okay, that would be a
No.
strange talent. You see what I'm saying?
A strange talent of mine.
I really thought I would at least get a giggle out of you on that one. That was just that
What?
jarring.
No,
Huh?
that was
I wonder what
weird.
listeners are gonna think. They're
I'm
gonna be like, "Jeez,
nah, yeah, dude.
got fucking intense quick."
Yeah. I'm sorry, but that was weird,
Crimes of
man.
passion, I suppose.
Dude, I don't know what a talent of mine is.
I don't know.
I'm good at adapting.
It's kind of basic and vague. I was thinking something
Oh, okay. Thanks. Okay, I
like
guess my life is basic and vague. All right, cool,
like
man.
rolling bags or something. I'm
Huh?
gonna have to think of it. Like, man, see, I guess now I gotta find.
No, like I'm very adaptable, dude. Like you can put me in any job environment. I'm a quick learner. Like that's my
Fuck
that's my
yeah,
that's my secret talent.
mine might be like hawking loogies or something. Like if I got something in my throat, and being able to like that shit. That's kind of a weird talent.
Bro, what?
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
can
saying. Like,
Okay, if we're talking talents like that, okay, I got you, I got you.
yeah, like that's like the like
Okay.
we're talking
Well,
obscure shit.
my talent then. I can juggle.
That's dope.
I can. It's cool. I
It's
love
kind of like
juggling.
when people can like pick up their like like things with toes. You ever seen someone be able to pick up shit with their toes?
Like eat food with a spoon with their toes. Like
I
that.
don't know that I've ever seen that one, but that'd be fucking interesting.
I'm sure someone could do it.
It'd probably
I
be
don't
pretty
know.
gross. If you can do chopsticks with your toes, you're a fucking goat.
Oh, dude.
I
Yeah,
don't even know
you.
how that would work.
I don't know. You ain't gonna catch me doing that. That's wild. That's
That's
wild.
what see, that's where my brain goes when you tell me like strange talents. I'm like, oh, there could be a plethora of weird shit in here.
Yeah.
See, that's why I try to focus on like righteous ideas because my brain just gets creepy really quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. You wanna
I
ask
mean,
me
you
a
got to keep
question?
tabs on yourself and be honest, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You do.
And I think like that kind of comes back to like understanding the nature of things, right? Like once you can understand your nature and like where your pattern is, where you tend to go, it can really help give you some clarity on like the direction you need to go and like excuse me, how to focus, you know, what to focus on, what brings meaning to your life, what's more fulfilling to you than these like hollow experiences that drive you to do weird shit, you know? And I think a lot of dudes experience this honestly. And I don't know if girls do too, because I really haven't asked them as much, but like with porn, I wonder if like chicks watch weird ass porn. You know what I mean? Because like when you're in like middle
Bro.
school, going into high school, you start watching like porn, and then there's like so many options that you didn't know existed, and you're like, "What the fuck?" You're like, "I didn't even
Yeah,
know
you
that's a thing."
start. Yeah, you start learning about like step bro, step mom, and
Weird shit,
like
you know. And then you wind up busting a nut on a weird ass video, and then you're like judging yourself. You're like, "What the fuck?" You know, it all started from like, I don't know, can that fit? And then you're like, "Oh shit." Um,
stuck, stuck
just down a
porn.
weird rabbit hole, you know? And I think that's kind of what part of that's me being honest with you, you know. I wish
Little,
I could tell you something different, but I'd rather tell you something that's like some real guidance,
a
you know?
little, a little bondage.
Well, it's like
You know.
I don't even think that shit's weird, bro.
No,
Like
it's
I think
actually
there's
fun.
weird ways that people go about doing that shit, but I also think
Oh no, it's dope.
like
Maybe
sex and
I
pleasure as
wouldn't
like a
know.
art form is like
I
that's
wouldn't
way
know.
cool. You know, like there's a way to do all things is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I try not to be
Yeah,
judgy on what people are
yeah.
into,
I
you know?
I wouldn't know what sex is like though.
Oh, dude, just wait. It's so good that once you get it, you can't live without it. I can tell you that much. Like, dude,
I might know. I might know about that.
I can't remember if I smoked weed first or if I had sex first, but all I know is I was like, they told me not to do this shit. I was like, I gotta try everything they told me not to do. And that's why I'm, trying to tell people, like, yo,
Bro, what?
yeah, that was where my logic went instantly. That was my fucking 13, 14-year-old brain kicking in like, "What? They hid this from me?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I smoked weed first. I got laid second. Yeah. I had to think about that one for a second. Cuz I'm like I was definitely high when I lost my virginity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
Don't act like
Nice.
it's weird. It's just weird cuz you don't have the story yet. I'm curious to see what your story would be.
My story about what?
Dude, everyone's got a story of their first time, you know?
My
Some aren't as
first.
yeah, some aren't as memorable as others. You know what I mean?
Yo, dude. Yeah, here my first time for real. Um.
Yeah, I can just say where it was, but in order to protect the innocent, you know.
Oh, dude. I'll give the full story, dude. You ready? You ready?
Wait, what? I thought you said you're a virgin.
No, I'm not, dude.
Oh, what do you mean then? You don't know what sex is like?
Oh, I was just kidding, bro. I was
Oh,
actually. I
bro. See, that's all those virginity rocks T-shirts that you were wearing.
oh, you really thought I was a virgin?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. 1,000%. 1,000%. Why are you so fucking shy when you're trying to talk to people then? You said you
Uh,
see a pretty girl, all of a sudden you're all fucking shy.
I don't know. I'm just maybe I'm gay, bro. I don't know.
No, dude, you just need to talk to them.
Ah, they're
Like,
scary. I don't know. They make me nervous.
I think most people nowadays are nervous to be talked to, but this is the thing, like, women aren't just like a slab of meat. Like, everyone knows, like, sex is a thing, right? So, like, once you become adult, it's like if someone's talking to you, there's some kind of dialogue about what this person looks like to some extent, right? They've already graded your attraction or whatever. So there's no need to really be like nervous about it. And as a dude, like what you got to remember, bro, have skills. Just have skills, bro. Be funny, you know?
Yeah.
Make a chick laugh. Don't make her feel uncomfortable, you know? Don't make her have to feel like you're just sitting here like, what do I have to say to bang you? You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what they don't want, you know? And so if you can just talk to women in a human way, dude, like that alleviates like 95% of your problems and opens up really the world of you being able to experience a relationship in a fulfilling way better. The best game I can give you right there.
Yeah. That's some
Yeah.
good. That's some game, bro. For
Well,
real.
yeah.
That's some
They want to
game.
get fucked and they know that we want to fuck them and they want to fuck us too. And so
Whole lot
that's
of
kind of like,
whole lot of fucking.
yeah, but once you get that on the table, bro, it's like, all right, so, foreplay starts a long way before the bedroom, bro. Like, straight up, ask a woman. She'll tell you. You know what I mean? That's the realest shit.
Holy moly,
You weren't ready for that level of honesty or you getting nervous? You make your pee-pee twitch.
bro.
Yeah, it happens.
Bro, what? What
I
did you
don't know.
just? What did you just say, bro?
I said it pee twitch.
Wait, it did it make my what?
Your pee-pee twitch. Did it move?
Why would it twitch?
I don't know. You just seem to keep getting closer to the mic and your hands are just covering your face. Are you embarrassed for me or for you? I can't tell. It's just gotten really awkward. I mean, a spade's a spade, bro. I'm just trying to lay it all out there. That way you're not nervous when you're at Starbucks because of a pretty girl, just looking out for you.
Bro.
Like, dude, you don't even have to be likable. Like, once you understand that, really, who says you have to be likable or like, if I can get you emotionally charged, like anger is just love turned on its head. Like, if I can get you mad at me, at least you feel something. Now I can then work from wherever I'm at, flip the script. Why are you mad? Fuck is wrong with you? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like a lot of chicks, especially pretty chicks, aren't fucking told no. Like people aren't honest with them. They just
Yeah.
go around getting deceived all the time, and they're like, "Oh," that's why they're all fucking distraught and just looking at you like, "No, I don't want to fucking talk to you. I want my latte." You know, like. But if you're just funny and you're just human, dude, it's like, fuck. All right, you know. Worst comes to worst, it doesn't work out. Another one bites the fucking dust. The difference is when it's love, because like love is something I haven't figured out the whole soulmate thing yet. Like why is it that some people leave and it's like I miss you. I don't miss other people when they leave, but there's something about your spirit that I miss. Like
Yeah.
and that's the different shit. That's what we have a hard time uh, swallowing that pill, and sometimes allowing other people the freedom that they need to be themselves, discover themselves, and choose whatever the fuck they want. And it just comes back to like that whole concept of like, stay true to your imagined, like, whatever image you have for yourself of like what love is, and don't sell yourself fucking short on that. Like maybe someone's not going to fulfill that 100% of the time because you're not able to focus that way and they're not able to focus that way because we're human, right? Like oftentimes, especially nowadays, we get distracted. That's why I think there's a huge problem with us being overstimulated, you know, and under focused. I think the gym is like really for our generation next level because back in the day, bro, like when you had to, there's an old school hippie book called Chop Wood, Carry Water. I think that's what it's called. And really, it's just everything comes back to chop wood, carry water, you know. And back then, there was a way of life that like demanded certain things of you, you know, physicality and the basics that you to live like harmonious, balanced life. And now, since our shit's all thrown off because of convenience, you know, and entertainment, we're somehow unfulfilled because we're not living the way that we should. You know what is kind of more natural to us. And I think taking us out of our head and into our body by exercising is why the gym is so like next level for our generation, although it's existed forever. It's just a trip to me that like my grandfather, who was a bodybuilder, like back in the depression era, bro, they were looked upon. Like that shit is crazy to me. He used to have to during the Great Depression, they would sneak onto job sites to steal the rebar and the concrete so they could mix it into coffee cans and make fucking barbells and dumbbells out of them. And then they would have to hide them in the snowbanks on the sides of the road and stuff cuz and in these like weird little back alley gyms and stuff because they were looked down upon. Now look at what happened with bodybuilding, right?
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not that long ago that shit was like that. You know, especially if you look at like who the fuck knows what eternity, but I mean,
Yeah.
far back we can go. This is like not even a hair on your head in thickness on that timeline.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Mm,
Well, before you
bananas.
fall asleep, we better fucking wrap this thing up.
Yeah, bro.
I just got you all
Dude.
creeped out and now you're ready for bed. Just check your
Well,
closet
yeah.
before you go to
Dude,
sleep.
don't tell me that, bro. What? Why would you say that before I go to sleep? Dude, all right, man. All right. That's all right.
There might be a hot chick in there that'll scare the shit out of you. She just throws her latte on you and fucking runs out.
Peekaboo. Like,
Creep.
oh, what? Creep.
You're like, you're the one in my fucking closet, lady.
Yo, yeah, I was about to say. Like, what?
So, anyways, this has been a random ass episode of the Happy Hoodlums
Yeah.
podcast, but I've loved it.
Went
Been over the
somewhere
hills.
I don't know. Um, did not know where this was going. So yeah.
It's over the hills and through the woods.